CC's back.
We're back. Oh my god. And it took us to 2021 before we could record the next episode.
Doesn't feel real. But mark our words, this time around we're gonna be consistent. It's gonna be the beginning of a good thing.
I hate to break it to you, Gloria, but the last episode recorded was in June.
Come again?
June, July maybe. And we also were like, this time it's for real. It'll be a bi-weekly episode. And then the world got really, it just didn't get any better. And
it was really crazy. And for those of you who's been following us on Instagram, we also wrote a book during this time. And that really, really messed up a lot of our content plans.
Yeah.
It just took over our lives.
Yeah, we should talk about that for a second. Yeah, the book is, I guess, our little COVID baby. Mm-hmm. Speaking of COVID babies, I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of our friends at least, my friends have had kids.
Yeah, mine too. Or like you haven't seen your friends in so long, you kind of vaguely know they have a kid, and then you see them finally, and you're like, holy crap, the kid's talking.
Yeah, exactly.
Where did the time go?
Yeah, and but the book happens to be our COVID baby, and it was way harder than I think I ever imagined it was gonna be.
So to give you an idea of how it went, when we first got in touch with the publisher, they actually reached out to us about writing a book.
Yeah.
And we were both like, this is the right thing to do. We have so much content. And honestly, when we write, we don't plan that far ahead, and we just write about what we want. So we're like, oh, this is such a great chance for us to organize everything. So it can be a helpful guide for those of you new to skincare, or even the veterans. And at first we were like, oh yeah, we just organized our blog post, that's it. And then we went back and we're like, crap, we have to rewrite everything.
Yeah, rewrite it. I don't know how many times we reorganized the book because we just couldn't figure out what would be the best way to like really like develop and like open the skincare world. And we probably rearranged it so many times strictly because we were thinking like, well, for a complete beginner, how would they want to read it? And then also for the biggest expert, skincare junkie, like how could they easily find the material they wanted? And yeah, all I can say is I'm so happy it's done and over. But I don't think it's going to feel real till we actually
get
hold
a physical
the book.
copy.
Yeah.
I need to email the publisher. We're supposed to get a physical copy very soon. Yeah. And we would probably be doing an Insta Live to share some of our favorite content from the book and give everyone a preview. Yeah. So stay tuned for that.
What do you think? Tears of joy? Will there be tears of joy?
I don't know. I feel like when I was done, I thought this was a project where when we see, not even the final printed copy, when we saw the complete PDF, I would shed a tear of joy. Yeah. But when I saw it, I was just like, thank God that's done.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if you find a typo. Like, let's just say, funny, we thought about, doing skincare education. Like, Gloria and I are not the best writers, so that was also a kick in the ass.
When I graduated high school, I was like, well, that's the last essay I'm ever having to write about.
Or even college, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyways. All right. So, since this is the first episode of the year, probably should give a quick introduction to anyone that's new to us. So, we'll just give you our quick little podcast blip, and then we'll go from there. So, yeah. Gloria, you want to go for it?
Hi, I'm Gloria, skincare chemist.
Yeah, and I'm Victoria, skincare chemist too. And so we are Chemist Confessions, and we are an educational skincare blog that turned into a brand, and we
now turned authors.
And what we do is we decode ingredient lists, we break down some skincare science, we have a little fun as well. And we actually started this podcast because we really just wanted it to be a more human side to the skincare science.
Yeah, the point is to just have a conversation. Yeah. I think what we see a lot, obviously we see a lot of BS, a lot of mumble jumble out there, things that overstate their efficacy. But what's also frustrating is sometimes we see people with good intentions want to talk about the science behind skincare, but it somehow comes off really daunting and we purposely use big words that's not very inviting for everyone. So, yeah.
Exactly. And honestly, skincare science can only put a logical framework to the world, but there's obviously a lot of caveats. Skin is so personal that it's good to really understand how there's so much gray area just within science.
Yeah, I think the more I work on Chemist Confessions, the more I think about skin science and what we do as a tool. Something that, science is a learning progress, right? Yes. And the more I work on Chemist Confessions, the more I realize we're not here to preach this is what you need to do 100%, but this is to guide you and hopefully help you make sense of what you're doing. We just realize there so many people who's really lost about it. So.
Exactly. So this is the podcast. It's a human conversation. We talk about news. We have like a meat of the podcast, a topic theme, and then we have our little animal corner, which we'll get to later. And that's it. Oh, we also drink.
Oh, what are we drinking today, Victoria? This is like 2 p.m. in the afternoon. What are we drinking?
But it's Friday, so that's all that matters. And I am drinking it's called Crestfall. It's a peach berry pie sour beer from Boulevard Brewing Company. It's a tall can. It's a tall Friday.
If you want to send us free beer samples.
Yeah, that'd be great. Help fund our little podcast, please.
Yes. I am drinking a self-made concoction that is about 5 parts bubble tea, like bubble fruit tea.
If you said soju, I swear.
And about 8 parts soju.
Can't hang. I'd be asleep.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's
what we're drinking. Yeah, for sure. So, also, actually, we should probably catch people up on what we've been doing since June for all of our previous listeners. Gloria, any big news since last summer?
You know, now that you put it that way, I'm like drawing a complete blank. I feel like everyone must feel the same way with COVID. It must feel like so much has happened, yet nothing has happened.
Yeah, for real. I think probably the biggest thing for us is that we moved our company.
Yes, we went from NorCal to SoCal, which I think typically any move is painful, but during COVID, that was extra painful.
Yeah, exactly. And for me personally, I adopted a dog finally.
The Chemist Confessions animal count is now up to 3.
Yeah, so her name's Maisie. She's an Australian cattle mix. She's pretty weird.
We're about to get her DNA test back, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've never... Actually, I don't know too much about Australian cattle dogs, but they are pretty damn smart. So that's pretty impressive.
I just find that a double-edged sword.
Yes.
I have 2 cats. One's pretty smart. One's not so smart. The smart one is talks back, gives me toot, and learns how to open all sorts of drawers. So.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's talk about therapy. It's much needed therapy. I recommend it for everyone. Although probably those that are looking probably realize like everyone wants a COVID companion right now. Yeah. So I know it's like pretty tough. We actually had a pretty tough time ourselves. So good luck. And if you need dog therapy, please find us. All right, cool. So to start off, we're going to do a little bit of news.
I feel like skincare news has been... It's like a roller coaster ride, right? I think when COVID quarantine first started, everyone's about self-care. And now everyone's so sick of anything COVID related.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so, and I think it's everyone in the industry is also having a tough time.
Yeah.
Like, I think usually there used to be a cadence, right? Like, winter you talk about your skin barrier, and then by springtime you're planning your skincare around vacations, and now it's like,
Yeah, and I just feel like, just speaking from the brand side of us, like we've been struggling so hard with just product development. Like we've got so many launches planned, but not being able to be at the factory to be able to see how these formulas get made. It's such an important piece to us. And obviously every part of the product timeline, there's a delay now.
Yeah. For those of you who noticed, where our cleanser went out of stock, I think in spring last year, like right around COVID.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh yeah, I'll be back in stock in 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, 3 months. Crap! It's been a quarter.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been really tough, but we are trying to. Can we share about it yet this episode?
Which one? What do you want to share? Oh gosh.
The
big reveal. What are we revealing?
We have a new product and a 2.0 coming out soon. Yeah. By 2.0 we mean Victoria and I, when we first started the brand, we talked about just we're not trying to be a brand that has 100 products. We're not trying to put out every single product anyone can possibly want to buy. But for us, it's just meaningful pieces. So let's say we have a moisturizer, Mr. Reliable.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Nudge, nudge.
And after a few years, we revisit the formula and we talk about what we want to do to make it even better. Yeah. So that's what we mean by 2.0 versions. And we have a few 2.0 versions in the works and one that's very close to being ready.
So close. Yeah. So, yeah. Good hint.
Yes.
Good hint. But yeah, all right. So back to the news. First things first, every year, well, in our first year, I guess, we usually do a recap of some of the...
We really do a recap. Last year was such a wash.
Yeah, that's so true. But yeah, so we do a recap of like trends for this coming year. So for 2021, after scouring the internet, these are the trends that people believe will happen in skincare. So first things first, microbiome focused skincare.
Bueno.
Celebrate.
I
can't read. Celebrity skincare. Blue light protection skincare, which we've already seen an explosion of. Skincare to calm inflammation.
That I can understand. That's very relatable right now.
Which there's now a term for it called inflammaging.
You know, I think
I actually like it.
Yeah, because I think I went to a seminar 1,000 years ago on the concept of inflammaging, but at that time it was so upstream, right? I think it was a talk given by one of the universities, and it's kind of cool to see a very, very upstream science concept trickle down to marketing and people starting to understand what that means.
Yeah. And then next thing is hand care.
Makes sense.
Refillable skincare products. So I feel like that one's been talked about, it's been tried. I see celeb brands starting to take that in, so that's kind of a good sign, but ultimately it's still I don't know, I'm still on the fence. I think it's a good initiative, but I don't know if it necessarily will catch, because it's really all about consumer behavior.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's like fetch. People keep trying to make it happen, but it hasn't really happened yet. Yeah. I think the problem comes down to execution.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
First of all, you have to be a big-ish brand for it to work, because to have that infrastructure to make sure that it's actually meaningfully recycled, I think is also harder than people think.
And I also think motivating consumers to purchase the refillables, it definitely takes the right brand and the right customer base,
right,
to really let that like set off and catch. So I don't know.
I always really like that. I remember back in college when I first started learning how to use makeup. I'm still really bad at it. I really liked that MAC at that time already has the whole like send empty eyeshadow pans back to them thing. Yeah. I never finished the pan, so that kind of didn't work out for me, but I thought it was really nice that they had that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. MAC has done some really cool initiatives. I personally believe more in like post-consumer plastic. Reusing that material. That is going to take a little longer time because that's the even more expensive route, but that's something that I think Laura and I, we've been really wanting to see how we can incorporate that in the future, but we're small.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, so. And then finally, barrier repair creams.
Yeah, I think that goes hand in hand with inflammation. Yeah. I think everyone's everyone's more aware of that now, especially with the constant use of hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it. I'm excited to see those trends.
Yeah. Do you personally feel like there's a trend that any other ones?
Ooh, we're starting the betting pool early.
What's in the horoscope for 2021?
I sense Saturn is coming into the northwest quadrant.
Oh God. Yeah.
I'm gonna say microbiome. That's my guess.
Yeah, I agree. There's so much science to process, actually. So I agree. I think that's growing. I think the thing for me that's more disheartening is like the explosion of celebrities.
Oh, that.
Blue light too, but celebrity skincare.
Oh.
It's just I would like the idea of like a celebrity teaming up with science. Like I think Victoria Beckham like teamed up with Augustina Bader. I kind of like that route a little better than just like what's recently what is recently that brand? Pharrell's brand.
Oh God.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw. I think the brand is called Human Made. It's beautifully packaged. They're using refillable packaging, but it makes no sense to me. There's like a rice powder cleanser, and then there's like a gel cream. There's no organization to it, and I don't really know what the mission is behind that.
I think we read an article on it, and his whole thing is that I grew up in humidity, so I want my face to feel humid.
Yeah. So it's just, yeah. I don't know. That's the one that I think this year will be really big.
Exciting.
Anyway, so that's the general sum up for 2021 and what we can look forward to. Ingredient wise, I will say last year was definitely the year for niacinamide. Oh my God. To the point that Gloria and I literally felt the need to be like, yo, maybe that's too much niacinamide.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, it's a great ingredient. Don't get us wrong. We always preach it as one of the big fours. Like, it's an ingredient that could benefit any skin type, really.
Yeah, we like it as formulators.
Yeah, but I wrote a post with some really crappy math error, but this point stands is because it's easy to put in everything. You can easily accidentally put together a routine that has 10% niacinamide in your serum, 5% in your moisturizer, and 6% more in your sunscreen. Yeah. And it's just too much of a good thing is very real in skincare. Yeah,
agreed. And I mean, the interesting thing is through kind of the community, we're learning that, niacinamide, something as vanilla as that active, can be too much for people and they are dealing with irritation. So at least that's the sum up for 2020. What about this year, Gloria? You think there's going to be
a standout ingredient? Yeah. I don't really know. The Jupiter in the northwest quadrant is really messing with my intuitions there.
Looking a little murky in the Uranus sector.
Ceramides?
I actually was going to say, I think ceramides might be big. CeraVe is definitely, they are on the come up. They have always been, but definitely getting a lot of attention right now, and I think that there's going to be a lot more ceramide products to come. Also, just within January, I've noticed a lot of focus on azelaic acid.
Yeah, that one I'm really curious to see what happens. So azelaic acid is an anti-niacinamide, and that it is a pain in the ass for chemists to work with. Yeah. So that's maybe part of the reason why it's not as easy to just pump out azelaic acid products. But also there's some regulatory funkiness there as well. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of that. That's a great ingredient too.
Yeah. All right. So next in the news, we want to sum up what the heck the FDA has been up to these past few months. And bless their hearts, they aren't. Not only are they underfunded, understaffed, underappreciated, have to deal with just a circus right now. So Gloria found some really cool stats that she's gonna share.
At this point, I don't even remember what I was researching, but then I stumbled upon the FDA warning letter page, and just out of curiosity, I was going through it. And recently, they've had to deal with so many BS claims about COVID cure, which is very, very dangerous misinformation right now.
Yeah.
So they've had to send out warning letters to brands that claim things from elderberry prevents viruses from attaching to host cells and is a great herb to use to prevent infection.
Shame on you, elderberry.
Licorice, an adaptogen. Adaptogen is another story. Licorice, an adaptogen. Immune amphoteric. What does that mean? Antiviral and
demulcent herb.
As an immune amphoteric, it can strengthen a weak immune system while simultaneously reducing a hyperactive immune response.
You telling me my Twizzlers can help me prevent getting COVID?
Shit, never mind. I can get on board with that.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
And then the last one I found was just so bizarre. I copied and pasted a whole paragraph because the whole thing was really good, but I'm just going to read some snippets.
Yeah.
It was a brand that they claim natural herbal recipes to cure COVID. And she wrote something along the lines of, or maybe it was a he. She binge researched and found that 4 Thieves was the only thing effective against the Black Plague.
Excuse me?
What? All right, cool.
Wait, we're going back to medieval times?
Yes. So then, based on listening to her intuition, she realized the Black Plague was bacterial and COVID is viral. So then she put all these learnings together and put together an herbal tea. And then she ran her quote-unquote own clinical trials, resulting in proof of efficacy of her antiviral variation of her 4 Thieves tea.
Oh my God. First of all, do not use medieval remedies or any sort of mention of that as clinical evidence that your stuff works. That's horrible.
You know what happened during the Black Plague? Even after they found 4 Thieves?
People died.
I don't know if this is not laughing. But yes, I went to London, I guess not recently, but they had a little board on the near the Tower of London that tabulates the most important events that the city has been through, like 1400 this happened, and there was like the plague, like a third of the city died.
Yeah, it is. I'm laughing, but I'm just baffled by that logic. Anyways, poor FDA.
Yeah, so that's what they've been really busy with, because obviously any COVID related remedies is a big seller right now.
Oh dear Lord.
I mean, at the end of the day, taking an herbal tea probably doesn't hurt in a very general sense, but if you're taking it as an antiviral, just not good.
Even an anti-anything, like, unless there's any sort of human clinical evidence, don't do it.
Shame on you. All right,
cool. And last but not least,
we have to.
We've gotten so many questions about the whole Purito Scandal. So we figure we should just weigh in as sunscreen formulators, our general thoughts and how we respond to hearing that kind of news. So yeah, Gloria, any initial feelings?
So I feel kind of bad for Purito, and it does highlight one of the main reasons why Victoria and I haven't done sunscreen ourselves, because any responsible formulators will tell you that it is incredibly difficult, and it's costly, it's time consuming, and when you test for SPF values, there's a few different test protocols you can use around different zones. Like, I'm not going to get into the test numbers, but yeah, there's a few. And it is very probable that you're going to get drastically different numbers with different protocols.
Yeah.
So that's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is stability of sunscreen and their packaging and how it's basically everything matters, right?
Yeah. Everything. So I always like to give this personal example for me. When I was formulating a sunscreen back in the day, I was so baffled that I could add probably the most innocent ingredient. I could go back for a reading and suddenly my filter system is failing. Mm-hmm. So if that gives you any sense of like how difficult it is to formulate. Also, in Compat, even just how it sits with
compatibility.
Yeah, the compatibility means you're testing the formula with the final packaging to see how it's holding up. And even with that, sometimes you run into issues where your formula is degrading or even the packaging is degrading. Sunscreens are temperature sensitive. So that's why we always talk about like following those expiration dates. Try not to leave it in the car. They're just that sensitive. So
that said, like, we don't work for Purito. We don't know the inner workings of what happened. They did do the right thing, where they pulled it as soon as they found out, and
they got the results. And they found that the SPF was actually a 17. So although significantly less, you are still getting some form of protection. So I wouldn't worry so much on the fact that you are putting yourself at major risk for a skin cancer, just because an SPF 15, if used properly, still gives you protection. I mean, ultimately it is really sad. It's sadly not surprising. And all we can do is, actually, our recommendation is generally to shop for bigger brands.
Yeah, I mean, as a small indie brand ourselves, we try to give shout outs to other indie brands who we think are doing great work. But sunscreen is one of those categories that, you do want to go for the L'Oreals, the P&Gs of the world, because they are that much more scared of class action lawsuits, and also they will put their sunscreen through the ringer. Maybe a small brand only has a budget to do one test and hope that one test translates over and over again. A big brand might test their sunscreen 8 different ways, 8 different times,
8 different locations. So one last thing I will say is about geographical location. So what a lot of big companies do is test their sunscreens in various clinics across like different countries and different facilities, and they're all tested in a very uniform, calibrated way. And the most amazing thing is, even through those protocols, those values can change dramatically. It's just, in some ways it is so illogical. It's crazy. There's no explaining that, but that's just how finicky it is, just in measuring sunscreen protection. So all in all, shop big brand if you're really worried about the filter system not holding up. They definitely have to do their research.
Well, that's an uplifting end to the news section.
All right. Uplifting. We'll work on this for next episode. All right, finally. Let's get to the actual meat of the episode, which I don't think we even talked about.
Oh, crap. Topic was. We have the meat, and the meat of the day is anti-aging.
RB, don't sue us, please. All right. So this month, if you guys are follow our Instagram, we've been all about anti-aging, start of the new year. Gloria and I are solidly in our 30s.
No, fake news.
Sorry, bring it up. And so for those of you just wanting to get into sunscreen, we are covering anti-aging, which can pretty much focuses on wrinkles.
After that not so uplifting Purito segment, we have to talk about a not so uplifting segment called wrinkles. Anti-aging undoubtedly is why a lot of you might have gone into skincare in the first place. Just to get out there, this is also a category where you will hear a lot of really sexy claims that make you want to buy a product, but
throw money at it.
Reverse time. I think people are at least past the like really crazy claims, like look younger in 5 days, or maybe
Yeah,
not. I don't know.
Agreed. I mean, anti-aging itself as a term, I personally don't love because it's just not very realistic.
Right.
It's really all about aging gracefully,
Mm-hmm.
slowing down aging. Everyone's aging. It's just a better, healthier mindset to have, less stress with your skincare routine.
Yeah, and that's why I think for me, the more uplifting part to talk about is always about prevention.
Yeah.
And that kind of ties in with aging gracefully, and just know that you're treating your skin right.
Yeah.
When it comes to correction, that's a little tough.
Yeah. So we typically break it down into age prevention, mild anti-wrinkle treatment, and then like hardcore anti-aging, or I guess hardcore anti-wrinkle treatment. So with that, Gloria, want to walk us through age prevention.
Yes. So with age prevention, we cannot overstate this enough. Wear your sunscreen. Wear your sunscreen. Wear your sunscreen. Sunscreen is the number one age prevention thing you can do for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you have a solid basic of cleanse, moisturize, and solid sun protection habits, then that's half the battle. And to kind of add a layer to that is your antioxidant.
Sorry. The good stuff.
And antioxidants, the gold standard is vitamin C. And when we say gold standard, the difficult thing is it's probably one of the only antioxidant that's been validated over and over again for topical use.
Yeah.
What we mean by that is if you are just curious and you get on Google Scholar and you Google antioxidants, you will see a ton of really promising data that says, oh, this extract or that compound can eradicate up to 97% of the free radicals. But if you read a little further, you'll realize a lot of those studies are done in a petri dish or in a little test tube, which a lot of times that is the first step, but that doesn't necessarily translate to skin benefits.
Yep.
So L-ascorbic acid is a form of vitamin C we usually recommend. If you don't like L-ascorbic acid, because it is possible that your skin is a little sensitized by L-ascorbic acid, especially because nowadays so many products have 15, 20, 25%. Yeah, it's like a pissing war on how high you can get L-ascorbic acid.
Sadly, yes. Of course, now that people are starting to pay attention, people want to know the science. People think it's all about hitting the numbers or going past the numbers, but just remember, it's all about finding the right concentration that's both effective and doesn't cause irritation. It is not just about it has to burn and it's effective. Like, trust me, that doesn't help you in the long run.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. I think when we first started Chemist Confessions, we're all like, oh, just make sure you're getting enough.
Yes.
Because most actives out there's only a
cat
sneeze worth of
worth.
active. And I was like, oh, so clever. And now I feel like brands are catching on that people know about percentages.
Yeah.
Then everyone's all about, I have 20%, but I have 38%. That's not really that helpful
And
either.
so irresponsible. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help any user find what they need. So just keep those thresholds in mind. And just to add on to the vitamin C, for those who do struggle with irritation, there are a couple, like very few vitamin C serums that are like 5 to 10%. Actually, yeah, look in the K-beauty space. We've noticed that they started coming out with lower concentration serums. So I think Klairs has one, and then we are currently looking at the Good Skin Days one.
Yes, we're testing that right now.
Look for a review shortly. Yeah. So next thing, exfoliation.
Yeah. So cell turnover is very, very important to your skin. Actually, I still remember those mall demos where they'll grab your hand and be like, oh, so young, just scrub. Yeah. And I always thought that exfoliation was like kind of hokey. Like, it's fun, but it sounds really hokey.
Yeah.
But it actually has a lot of proven benefits for skin in the long run. So do it.
Yeah, I mean, the goal behind it is you're just keeping your cell turnover on a good schedule.
It slows down as you age.
Yeah.
So it definitely needs help as you age.
Yep. So with that little help, helps buff the surface of skin. You've got smoother surface. You've got glow. Probably got even adds a little bit of glow. So yeah, and of course, if you are doing chemical exfoliation, you have to sunscreen, so you can't forget it. Yeah, so I think that covers age prevention.
Yeah, those are your solid foundation.
Yeah.
If your routine has antioxidant, exfoliation, and I should add that a combination of chemical and physical is the best.
Yeah.
But with physical, just keep it very gentle.
Yeah. So something like a contact sponge, silicone brush.
Yeah, like really soft bristle brushes work too.
Yeah.
I always joke that we should sell a concrete slab as a hardcore exfoliator. It should not hurt.
Oh God. Yeah, this is just our typical humor on a daily basis. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so next thing is just light aging maintenance. So this is probably you're hitting your 30s. You're starting to see. I know. You know what? When I turned 30, I was like, this is great. I kind of know where my life is going. In my 20s, I felt way lost. So this is not about living. I just did not know. I feel like just adulting, had not figured it out. Turned 30 and I was like, yes, this is the decade. This is my true 20s.
This is my prime.
Right, exactly. Then 31 came around and I'm like, no. Now it's like you are solidly in your 30s. Yeah, mentally, I don't know. I was kind of like, oh, it kind of stings. But anyways, that's my mental wraparound. Yeah, so, all right. Light aging maintenance. So you might be seeing just some fine lines and wrinkles coming in. And the only thing that we recommend trying to add is a retinoid. So you don't need a lot. You can start as low as 0.1, 0.3. And it's just a matter of figuring out how to incorporate that while minimizing, the irritation, the redness, things like that. And that will really help. Retinol has been shown to help with wrinkle reduction, pigmentation, even a little acne assistance. It's just a matter of dialing that concentration in.
And also, and same thing to keep in mind is the name of the game is to use an effective concentration without irritating your skin. There isn't a point to using retinol if you're molting like a snake and your face is on fire the whole time. You don't really need to go that hard. Just know that there is an acclimation period.
Yes.
So in the beginning, some shedding is okay. But if it if a typical toner or serum you use is starting to stain, your skin barrier is that compromised, then it's not really a good place to be.
Yeah, so when that does happen, just think about your dosage and then just start dialing back frequency. I think that's the easiest place to start. Gloria has drier, a little bit more, would you say sensitive? At least sensitive to retinol. Yeah.
My skin's very acid tolerant, but really sensitive to retinol.
Yeah. So for your onboarding, you typically do
I do 0.3% twice a week, and got to a place where I'm like, this is great. My skin's used to it. I don't shed anymore, and I can see the brightness coming. Awesome. Time to go up to 3 times a week. Molt like a snake.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just how it is. You can be on 0.1 for 2 years before you decide you want to dial it up. But I think that's probably the easiest one with sure benefits in anti-wrinkle to incorporate. Just takes a little patience. Yeah. All right. And then finally, for those who have the wrinkles are really starting to come in now, you really want to start leveling up that care. There's a couple things you can do. So first things first, you can dial up your retinol.
0.5, 1%.
Yeah.
But same thing apply. You're not looking for that excessive irritation.
Yeah. And if you can get your hands on it, you can even try going into tretinoin. But that again, if you are doing that, don't go using it at the same frequency that you're already using it at. Go back to how you first started. Again, the reason why we're so afraid of irritation is because when your skin becomes irritated, you kind of have to stop your actual routine and dial back to the basics of just cleanse, sunscreen, moisturize until your skin is healthy again to start introducing all those actives again. So it's kind of like you almost have to backtrack and All right, next thing. AHAs. Can definitely level that up.
Yeah, and the gold standard is glycolic acid. And I know a lot of you have a lot of questions about how to use both AHAs and retinol in the same routine. And the easiest way is to just alternate nights. AHAs, my personal favorite way to use it is just a 1 time a week mask. And you can go upwards to 30% if you want. Our gold standard glycolic acid is a booster mask at 30%. I use that once a week. If I'm on retinol, I actually dial it back. My skin's very acid tolerant, so 30% home use peel mask is perfect for me.
Yeah.
But if I'm on retinol, I either mix it with another like soothing mask or something to just take that percentage down a little bit. Or I just or I dial back, or I change the molecule. Instead of glycolic acid, I may use a lactic acid instead. So yeah, it's about managing that. So I chemically exfoliate once a week, and then retinol twice a week. And then on the other nights, I don't use any sort of active. It's all about soothing, barrier repair type of ingredients.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I manage it. You can always, some people's skin are just really tolerant to actives. You can definitely dial up from there, but just proceed with caution. And I want to say just have a little fun with it too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. I think, now that the science is getting more of a spotlight, we kind of feel like the fun is starting to not be fun. It's starting to be a little stressful, and you feeling lost is not fun. It feels like you might even be ruining your skin. I agree. It's like, the idea of really customize it, make your own. And as long as you're listening to your skin, you're being safe. You're not like adding 5 new actives in at the same time. Definitely have fun with it. And for me, I'm definitely one that's a more active tolerant. So I'm pretty aggressive with retinol. I actually use up to 1% nightly. But definitely I can't do a glycolic acid treatment once a week with that kind of routine. So I'll actually use our baby steps gluconolactone forward treatment, and my skin seems to really like that. I love doing it more because I can start looking really ashy with too much retinol. So I just feel like it just takes that ashy layer like right off, and it's the stinging and everything, it's not too much.
So other than retinols and AHAs, there are peptides and other ingredients positioned to be anti-aging or wrinkle correcting, preventing, like collagen. How do we feel about those ingredients, Victoria? Boop!
Fell into a trap. It's a trap. Okay, so we'll start with peptides first. We typically like to recommend things like Matrixyl Haloxyl. These are actually based from a supplier called Sederma. They have done some pretty extensive clinicals on their peptides, and you can now get it. But the thing to keep in mind is you do need quite a high percentage. You're looking at anywhere between 2 to 4%. So they have, and it's shown to help, treat crow's feet, forehead wrinkles. So we really like that peptide. Other than that, the industry is quite a zoo, and it's only getting bigger.
I think last year was the year of growth factors, which is a form of like illegal. Is it illegal or dipeptide?
I think oligopeptide.
Yeah.
And it feels like now it's like oligopeptide 78, and it's absurd.
I mean, even for a chemist, we have to reference the supplier of the peptide to know, even with the same ingredient name, right?
Yeah.
SH oligopeptide 3 versus oligopeptide acetyl hexapeptide 7.
Yep.
It all comes back down to like the data that matches up with that, and it's a hot mess.
Yeah. So all in all, if they have done a clinical or even a consumer perception study, that would be really helpful in selecting the peptide. SkinCeuticals has done many studies. They typically do a clinical on, their products with peptides as well, which is a good example, and Murad too.
Collagen.
Yeah, Gloria, collagen.
Collagen, there's 2 facets to it.
Yeah.
One, Victoria just wrote a wonderful article on collagen ingestibles, which is a huge topic in beauty.
Madness.
It was a dark rabbit hole. I just look up and see her reading papers with like this face on. There's a lot, and it's a mess. But anyway, read that article if you're interested in details. Long story short, it's a mess. Look for some form of hydrolyzed collagen in your supplement, and make sure it clearly labels how much collagen is in it, because nowadays you'll see a lot of actually just vitamin blends with some tiny amount of collagen. And it's just so read the article for more details. Topical collagen, another big topic. Know that 99.9% of the products out there that have collagen, it's only there as a hydrating ingredient, not as an anti-aging ingredient.
The inky is usually like hydrolyzed collagen.
And we recently did do a collaboration with Algenist, who shared the details of how they created their collagen molecule and how they're able to create a product where collagen is the number one ingredient on the list.
That was super cool, because we are often very skeptical of collagen ingredients. Just never found one that did their due diligence. So it's cool learning from Tammy.
Yeah, and it's really good to nerd out with someone else in the industry, and that ingredient has been through many different tests. So
took them 6 years, I believe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, to actually go from their inception of their vegan collagen molecule to an actual product, and the testing that they've done from analytical all the way to testing the final product. Really impressive. It's such a relief to find a brand that, kind of embodies and has the same mission as the ones we share. And so it's pretty cool. And
if you're curious, check out our blog, and I believe the live session that we did with Tammy is now on our IGTV, so check that out.
But otherwise, if they don't have a clinical and they tout some miraculous collagen molecule, please ask them for some sort of data to share, or another thing is look for an insurance policy. And sometimes brands, they want to introduce new molecules. They're a little worried that efficacy might not be there, or it's too expensive, that they can only put just so much of it. And so they might put in, vitamin C. They might put in niacinamide. Niacinamide is the most common one. To buff up that ingredient list. So that's kind of a nice insurance policy if you want to give it a shot. And anything else? Well, ultimately, I mean, with hardcore anti-aging, you're gonna need the help of an in-office procedure. I hate to say it, but it's just topicals, to be honest, can only do so much. They're starting to push that barrier, but if you're looking for real significant results, I truly believe in an in-office procedure, lasers, microneedling, only in office, not at home. I know we have a question coming up for that, but that I think would be the next big move.
For sure. I am definitely curious about that stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll report back with findings.
So I think microneedling, from what we've seen, collagen stimulation, wrinkle reduction, even pigmentation. It's all, I think that's like a great place to start. So if you are looking into in-office, I know with COVID, it's really hard to do right now. Vet the esthetician, definitely go in, ask questions, find an esthetician is almost like your skin therapist. So it's a great partnership to have to really like level up your routine. Yeah. So I think that's the meat.
That is the meat.
Okay.
All right, cool. We're done with the meat.
All right, so it comes to our favorite part. Are we singing still?
Break
Break it up.
break it up. Woo! It's Animal Fun Fact Corner.
Yeah, so we do this selfishly.
Yes.
And y'all are just along for the ride.
Yeah, so for those of you new to our podcast, we take turns finding really trolly, weird animals, and we share some fun facts about it.
Yeah, I think it's just a personal or just a personal interest we both share.
And it is not exclusive to the cute and cuddly. I think animals of the past have included the cute and cuddly quokkas, and Mongolian cats are really funny.
Yeah.
All the way to like some hang insect.
The harpy bird. What was that one?
Harpy eagle.
Yeah. That one was really badass. And
insects that like chews off someone else's head and gives
the jumping spider.
Yeah, jumping spiders. Insects have really, really hardcore mating rituals. It's really funny. I think there's like a hang fly that has to find a big enough gift. Yeah, basically you have to catch a big fat enough fly, because if the female finishes eating before he's done, she's gonna eat him too.
So yeah, it's just the earth. Mother Nature is fascinating, and we love to have this show and tell corner. So this week is my turn, and so Gloria usually doesn't know the animal. Yeah. So okay, so this animal that I want to share really comes from just spending way too much time at home, and and so I got to thinking about how like usually when you think of like poisonous like big predator animals, you think of Australia. And so I got kind of curious as to like what sort of possibly harmful creatures there are in the States.
Oh,
okay,
interesting.
And so let's see. So today what I'm going to share is called the puss caterpillar. Puss. Yes, I know how it sounds.
Okay.
All right. So the puss caterpillar is about probably like 3 inches long.
That's what she said. Sorry.
And they're actually described as toxic toupees. So if you look at them, they actually look like just like little fuzzy, like 3-inch little like thumbs, basically.
Like a rabbit's foot.
Yeah, exactly. And they have like this beautiful like feathered hair. Yeah. But it turns out that the puss caterpillar, actually within that beautiful fuzzy hair, has these like poisonous barbs. And so for a period of time, they live anywhere from like North Carolina to Florida. And for a period of time, the hospitals during the summer were super busy because people were coming in with like really intense like pain, blisters, burning. So their barbs are actually really painful to the point that even just by a little prick, you can feel the pain in your bone. Ooh. That's how toxic they are. And it's crazy because they're like the cutest little things. So for a period of time, people would have these caterpillars fall on them when they were walking.
Ouch.
And just by accidentally falling on them, they'd have, these like injuries from them. The other thing is, even though they're like this beautiful looking, just beautiful, almost piece of hair, because of those hairs, they actually have to fling their poo because
doesn't want to get trapped in the hair.
Exactly. Can't mess up the beautiful haircut. So this is like literally the only caterpillar that flings their poo around just, for beauty. Yeah. So I honestly was so fascinated because you think of the States and you're like, oh, animals in the States are not that
pretty harmless. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we have rattlesnakes, mountain lions, but like you don't think of, you hear like those giant plate spiders in Australia. Yeah. And the other thing is they do turn into these beautiful looking moths. They're the ones that have like the glorious like fur almost. But these moths actually only live for a week just to mate, and then they die. So they actually spend most of their life as a caterpillar, a poisonous caterpillar. So anyways, that is the puss caterpillar. In the States.
So friends in the Carolinas down to Florida,
don't
watch
touch it.
out.
Don't touch it. It's not cute. Yeah, so that's it for our animal corner.
Woo! Today I learned.
All right. So with that, our last bit is the Q&A.
Yep. So we pulled some questions that you guys asked on the website or from Instagram, and today we have 4 questions. First off, I have just hit my 40s and I'm starting to really see the wrinkles come in. Where do I start?
Yeah, perfect for this this episode. Like I said, it sounds like because you just are starting to see the wrinkles in, I can only assume you're probably doing like minimal anti-aging care. The first thing I look at is dialing up your retinol. Can you go up to 0.5, even 1%? We like to recommend SkinCeuticals for 1%. What's the other one? I'm boring her, guys.
The soju is getting to me.
I knew it.
SkinCeuticals, Skin Medica also has an assortment of retinol concentrations. I think Obagi had a few that I like, but Obagi also likes to combine weird actives. So.
Damn bird. All right. And Paula's Choice, they also have a 1%.
That one's
pretty mild.
Yeah, that one I think is encapsulated, and
you know, that brings up a good point with retinol that we kind of forgot to mention is encapsulation. That's only going to get more confusing as encapsulation continues to grow.
It's a double-edged sword. So the good thing about encapsulation is they scientists take the molecule and wrap it in something, right? And this wrapping around makes it, one, more stable. It protects the molecule, and B, it might help penetration and whatnot. The difficulty with encapsulation and marketing is the concentration gets very confusing. I think look for brands that said X% retinol. Well, actually, sometimes they lie about that too. So
but 1% retinol.
Yeah, we've seen brands that market like, whoa, like 4% retinol, and it's actually encapsulated complex that only it might only end up being like 0.1 or 0.2% retinol active. So it gets very confusing when you're shopping.
Generally what we recommend is just, try to look for clinicals. A lot of people kind of bank on just retinol being known and forego a consumer perception or clinical study. And the other thing is, sometimes you might go from a 0.5% retinol to a different brand that's also 0.5%, and you suddenly realize like the irritation, it's like behaving a little differently, or your skin's behaving differently. That's just kind of the nature of encapsulation. It's really hard to tell. I would say that, I feel lost because on one side it's like you shouldn't look for irritation to show that it's working, but there is a chance that encapsulation technology just isn't as effective.
Right. Yeah.
I don't really know how to decide between these two, but I would say if you know and you're seeing results with that one brand, but you're just curious to try because you're hearing the buzz, you don't have to do that, especially if it's working for you. Skin
actives is definitely one of those if it ain't broke type of things, especially with tried and true actives like retinol. If you are on a brand you're lukewarm about, there's nothing wrong with looking, but yeah.
And then the other thing, we talked about dialing up your acids. We talked about peptide creams. There is a way to incorporate all 3 of these. If you have any questions, find us. And then finally, maybe it's time to see an esthetician. You can do a microneedling treatment, like I believe it's every quarter. And that's a good way, you know, to kind of boost that collagen, you know, help with cell turnover. Just a little pep in your step. So yeah. All right, question 2. I'm curious about using face oils in my routine. Do you have any suggestions?
So I pulled this question for the anti-aging episode because there are a lot of oils out there that claim
face serums.
Pretty crazy things. Yeah. Like, oh, this oil is anti-aging. This oil is rich in polyphenols and this and that. And it is the sour beer is talking, but yeah, face oils are great, but it is a very singular purpose. It is an emollient that will help smooth your skin and help enhance your moisturizers. It doesn't even work that well as a standalone moisturizer. So we really like facial oils, but like to overclaim its benefits is kind of nutso to us.
Irresponsible.
Yeah, so don't look to facial oils for anti-aging. Look, it's a moisturizer, and we recommend using it as a last step of the routine or mixing it with your cream. There's nothing really wrong with either. Just don't use it before your water-based ingredients and products like hydrating serums or AHAs. That comes after. So that's it.
All right, number 3. Is there anything that can improve droopy eyelids apart from surgery? Yeah. All right. So, you know, I'm really trying not to end this episode on a depressing note, but again, I think ultimately if you can just manage expectations, it'll be a lot easier. And the first thing is, topically, anything that involves sagging, drooping, lift, is very hard to treat. It's actually, I don't really have a lot of confidence in it, so I hate to say it, but I do believe that it involves an in-office procedure. A lot of times you might see ones that talk about 10 seconds, like you can erase your eye bag. Usually what they're doing with these is they make a film. Yeah. So awesome for like makeup and special events, one day.
Who has special events anymore?
I know, right? But yeah, so it's great for that, but it isn't providing any like long-term benefit. So sadly, yeah, we feel you, but it's just the reality of it.
Yeah, I mean, we're not plastic surgeons or doctors. Definitely consult them for minimally invasive options. Yeah. But yeah, topically, probably not.
Yeah. All right, number 4. Thoughts on home microneedling. Is it beneficial for aging?
Microneedling is very beneficial for aging. There's a ton of data out there. There's data on it treating almost everything.
Even hair follicle.
Loss.
Yeah, hair follicle growth. It's actually quite impressive.
Yeah, and usually in an esthetician or dermatologist office, they pair it with a treatment serum. Yeah, it works great. Home microneedling is another beast. We generally wouldn't recommend it.
No, don't do it. Please don't do it. The main reason is esthetician offices get to use a much longer microneedle
and much finer.
Yeah, that actually can reach where it should be like stimulating like the collagen. Home microneedling doesn't, but it does penetrate, and on top of that, you should be replacing those microneedles every time you use it. You collect bacteria, grime, and by re-rolling, you're reinserting that bacteria. That's why we really don't just don't do it, please, unless you're replacing the needle.
Yeah, and if you really can resist, you really want to try it, or you are using it and really liking it, just definitely sunscreen.
Oh, yeah.
Sunscreen, moisturize. You want something more occlusive to protect your skin, because the point of microneedling is purposely and precisely wounding your skin, so it is more susceptible to the elements. So definitely protect your skin, and sunscreen if you can resist.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So I have one last question for Gloria, because we are ending our episode. So it's 2021, Gloria. We usually have some sort of goal. Last year I made a goal of like not buying lip product. And actually, if you don't count our little sunscreen lip product thing, I was able to stick to it. But
I forgot my goal.
I think yours was cleansing balms.
Oh,
I think you said like you know, it's a
One of
category that makes a lot of sense for you, and you did try a few. Although there's now like 10 more new ones.
Yeah, and I don't like trying it unless I'm wearing makeup, and 2020 is not the year for makeup. So
yeah. So Gloria, you have a skin goal, something you want to get into this year?
Oh, last year I also said I was gonna really, really try weighing retinol, and I think I was like doing pretty good.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. My skin goal for 2021.
I put her on the spot.
I am drawing a blank right now.
Okay. For me, I think it. Actually, personally, for me as well, I don't really have one. I don't know why. Okay.
Are we getting to the point where it's just like if everything stays as is, it's good?
Yeah, it's more like count your blessings because we're 30. Okay, so I think for me, this would have been mine, but it also leads to like our launch, and I don't really want to say anything towards that.
2021 goal. Actually, I have one, but maybe it's not 2021. It's in the books. I do really want to try more in-office things. I don't know what yet.
Gloria's just itching to get out of here.
Yeah, I am. I really am. I really miss our esthetician friends. I miss going there. And I think I've done in-office microneedling before.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
How was your experience with that?
Weird.
Yeah. Was it painful?
No, it wasn't. Didn't feel like much.
What about the post? I always want to know about post procedure because I know people get itchy and like can't wash your face. And
yeah, it was kind of. Now that I think about it, it was like a really mild one. Yeah. I think it was kind of hokey, whatever she did. Oh. But I want to try a more legit one. And I am very, very curious about Botox and like all the different stuff. I don't think I'm quite ready for that yet.
No,
but
I don't see a reason why.
But I'm very curious about like minor things you can do in office, and I think there's just when we used to visit our esthetician friend, we talk about we love talking with her about what she sees, her clients' needs, post procedural care, and I think like now I really want to try stuff.
I think that's a great one. Praying that we can get out of here. Callie, you know who you are. Okay, I think for me, my goal is trying to find better mineral sunscreens. It's a category I've really given up on. I just really don't like the texture. My skin color, like I think I have like more of a yellow undertone. So it really brings out like that white cast. So I think like with all of these, also with the, general concern of sunscreens right now, I feel like that might be a category I'm going to try to put more effort into and finding an alternative.
That's a good one. Also,
that's like not Murad. Oh, so Murad is like my cop out.
This is her favorite.
But this bottle is like $60.
We do say,
I can't get over it.
Yeah, you want the formula to be nice enough where you want to slather over your face. But if it costs $60, you're not gonna want to use that much every time.
Exactly.
So
yeah. So, anyways, that's my goal,
that's a good one.
We reached the end of the episode.
Goodbye.
All right. What's the plan for our next episode? Do we have an idea? We haven't touched on anti-pollution.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So I think for me, that might be the topic we might try to tackle. Any other brand updates?
Well, I think that's it. Hopefully by the next episode we can share more of the book preview and
launch preview.
Oh, now you're just asking for so much.
I know. Yeah, but book mainly. yeah, we did this like routine section that we're really happy with. Just because, yeah, it's always like the science is one thing, but it really doesn't make sense, I think, until you can put it all together.
Yeah, I actually I really like our history section. It's really dumb, but it's just a way. We created those sections in the beginning as a way to just break up the denseness of it. And Victoria drew these really funny bubble guys throughout different historical periods.
Yeah, bubble guys through the decades.
And it was really funny.
Aw, thanks, Gloria. Yeah, so anyways, you know where to find us. If you have any questions, please write to us, email us, DM us. We're happy to answer any skincare questions. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
This will be a consistent thing. Woo.
Yes, it will be. So anyways, thanks for joining us, guys. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you soon.